Hello and welcome to another episode of Ball Around the Head. We were a couple days late. We were supposed to stream Sunday, but it was the holidays, so we were all with family, quarantined, and safely. But we're back on a Wednesday, and the NBA is about a season and a day in. They're per every season
and a day?
ever. A week and a day, excuse me. I thought I said that. I'm sorry. But as every season is, there's always those disappointing starts and the great starts that you didn't expect. Um, in my opinion, it's just been some good basketball. Although there's been some 50-point blowouts recently, which is kind of incredible.
My boy Luka.
It's just been fun to watch. So my first question I have for you guys is, so far, in your opinion, which rookie has meshed well with their new team? Ben, you go first.
Edwards has been doing well, but I think James Wiseman is my pick. He's come out. I had him on the draft stream as the most likely bust out of the top, but so far he's been solid. He's been, as advertised, he's been a strong finisher and exactly what the Warriors needed, which was a strong center who's going to get boards and finish with authority. And I think before he had a couple of bad games, these past two games, he jumped to the top of the Rookie of the Year odds with his first two performances. So he was playing well.
Yeah. Andrew, what you got?
This might be unexpected, but I'm actually going to say Cole Anthony. He is a backup point guard for the Magic, and I can just tell you his stats. He's averaging 8.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. Oh, wait, one of those is off. There's only 4.5, but it was like 4.8 assists, I think, in under 18 minutes. So he's actually – and the Magic are 4-0, and they haven't really played against the greatest of teams, but still, everybody knows Game 1 Magic is good. So I guess game couple, I don't know what the ratio is from 4 games to 72 games, but we'll have to see. The Magic are playing pretty well, and I think Cole Anthony is actually pretty good player, and I was excited to see him come in the NBA because I recognize his name for some reason.
Yeah, Cole Anthony was supposed to be one of the top 5 picks during this draft, and then he struggled a lot during college. And the Magic were like, we need scoring, so let's just take a flyer on him. And so far, it's been good results, and he looks like he's going to be a promising player for them in the future. But I'm going to have to side here with Ben, actually. James Wiseman, he's played 2 college games, and he missed most of training camp and all of preseason. So people are like, he hasn't played a legit game in almost a year or 2 years. What's going to happen? And he's played really well, like surprisingly well, which just shows how much talent he truly has without all the practice and competitive games. He just looks like he fits. And I'm fairly confident. I said this in a previous stream. He just looks like he fits that system really well. He runs the floor. He could block you a couple shots. He's up there for alley-oops. He's a good player. So I think he's meshed really well with his team so far. Yeah. Do you guys have any other comment on that topic?
LaMelo Ball, I had him on my fantasy team and I dropped him. He performed pretty well tonight, but I think I've heard a lot of things where he has to start for him to be good, but I don't know if Devontae Graham's been performing well too. He gives me fantasy points. So I don't know. What do you think about Devontae Graham versus LaMelo Ball?
I think you go, Ben. Sorry.
I think at some point, the Hornets season, it looks like they might be near the bottom of the East. At some point, I imagine he'll probably get the starting gig because they want to see what he can do.
I think that's exactly what it is. They're just going to start Graham and Rozier until LaMelo proves that he needs, or they're out of contention. They need to see what they have in LaMelo, which that's been inconsistent results thus far. It's been a couple games, but he goes off for 0 points, and then he has 15, then he has 4 points, and then he has 18 tonight. But I think I'm with Ben. Eventually, he's going to start over. I don't know about Devontae Graham. I think maybe Rozier, but I'm not really sure because they're paying Rozier a lot of money, and Devontae Graham is a very good player that I don't think should be on the bench. This will be interesting to see what they do there, and they cannot start all 3 because that would be horrible defensively. That would not be fun. But I don't know. LaMelo just needs to show consistency, and eventually he'll get a starting role. This topic has kind of been the most popular topic in the NBA for the past 2 months since the offseason began, and it's James Harden. there has been a bunch of stories out there. He's caught at strip clubs. He misses practice. He just all this drama, and then he comes out on the court and performs phenomenal. Or like, does he even need to practice? It's just amazing. So, Andrew, what are your thoughts on this whole James Harden and Rockets situation?
Yeah, so he's actually been performing pretty well. The Rockets have lost their games, but he's dropped like 30 and 40 points. So I think he's playing because now I think he understands how unprofessional he was. But wasn't he recently just caught again, like just the other day? Yeah. So maybe he's not learning. I just think he just needs to get traded. Like he's not gonna, because why would he want to perform well on a team he's not even gonna beat? He'll be against him in the playoffs unless he's in the East. But you know what I mean. So I don't know why the John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins aren't playing either, and I want to see them play with James Harden, but
they're out due to COVID protocol.
Okay, well I think we'll have to wait and see.
I think they'll be back tomorrow. I'm pretty sure.
So sweet.
Tomorrow.
Well, I think it's just a matter of time. James Harden's just warming up. He's cooking up. He's warming up.
All right, Ben.
Yeah, they actually, like, even though they're 0-2, they actually don't look that terrible. Like, it was a close loss to the Blazers, and then a semi-close loss to the Nuggets. And Harden, like you said, he's the league leader in scoring right now. Put on 2 great scoring nights, and they actually don't look too bad. Like Christian Wood looks like a great fit with them. I think maybe Harden just has a chip on his shoulder earlier this year. Like, all right, well, if I'm doing all these bad things, these guys don't mind playing with me, and look what I'm capable of doing still, despite all this missed time. I still think this season's going to have a lot of turmoil, and in the end, they're probably going to trade him. But the Rockets, I think it'd be decent for now, especially when they get Wall and Cousins back.
This whole season, this whole thing is just weird because you could tell by his actions, Harden really wants to leave, like bad, and he's done everything to be like, hey, don't play me, I don't want to be here. And then we have the Rockets management being like, okay, like we'll be willing to trade you, but these teams have to give us a lot in return. And every team seeing the way Harden's acting, they're like, I don't want to give you this much because who knows? It could be Kyrie Irving 2.0. You trade for him, and then he's like, I don't want to be here, and then he leaves in a couple of years.
Yeah,
that's exactly what people are thinking. So they need to, like you guys said, they need to go apart. It's done. Harden tried to win championships there, it didn't work. He doesn't want to be there. And the Rockets need to lower their asking price in these trades because the way they're asking, it's not going to happen. And as Ben's saying, if they keep this team for the whole year, it's going to get ugly. Even though they're playing good right now, Harden just doesn't want to be there, and he's not going to. Although on Ben's point, Christian Wood, people were like he was good in a small sample size last year, and he's proven that it's not a fluke. He's played extremely well. It's 2 games, but he's been one of their best players, obviously besides Harden. So it's just a very ugly situation that I hope gets resolved pretty soon. Which I wouldn't put money on it. It's just interesting. I don't know. Andrew touched on this earlier when he was talking about Cole Anthony, but the only remaining undefeated team entering this stream is the Orlando Magic, which not a lot of people would have seen coming. The Hawks were undefeated coming in today, but they lost tonight. So it's just the Magic. Ben, are you shocked by the Magic's 4-0 start?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm shocked. Like, I feel like every year, like 4 or 5 games in, there's always some team that's supposed to be on the bottom of the league that goes on like a 4-0 start and then ends up being like a 10 seed or something. I mean,
true.
They beat the Heat, which is a tough matchup, obviously, but then they beat the Thunder and the Wizards twice, which the Wizards look terrible, so I'm not too impressed by that strength of schedule. And they haven't done enough to make me a believer, honestly. I still wouldn't bet on them making the playoffs, even after seeing this good start that they've had. But it's definitely a good start, and you're happy if you're a Magic fan, that's for sure.
Do you think the Wizards or the Magic will make the playoffs?
I would still at this point say it's more likely that the Wizards make the playoffs, as bad as they looked.
Yeah, he's only for first 4 games, I guess.
All right, Andrew, what are your thoughts on the Magic?
I thought the Magic looked really well, and I mean, I touched on Cole Anthony earlier, and Markel Fultz as well. I mean, it's only his 3rd year, and everyone's saying he's a bust. I don't know if it's 3rd or 4th. I think 3rd year, 2017. So everyone's saying he's a bust. Like, how many points? Yeah, averaging like 18 points. So he's scoring a lot more this year. I mean, he's not really like controlling the offense as much as he probably could be. He has to develop with that. But that's why they have Vucevic there, and he's a great player too. So I don't know. I think the Magic are pretty good, but again, yeah, maybe not making the playoffs.
Yeah, Markel Fultz is already one of the first contestants in the most improved player conversation. He's definitely improving a lot this year, and he was supposed to be a free agent after the year, but they gave him a contract, and he's showing why that contract may be good for the Magic. We discussed that in our last stream, I believe. But as Ben mentioned, their schedule is easy right now. Besides the Heat was a very impressive win, but some could say that they just come out of the bubble. Maybe they were tired, and who knows? You can give those excuses, but it was an impressive win nonetheless. And then the Wizards look not good at all right now. They're 0-4. Like, they don't have any bad chemistry, but they just don't look like a good basketball team right now. And that was a team that I think all of us were pretty high on, and they have not really looked that sharp. Although it's a new system, some new players, especially a new star player, so you got to adjust to that. So I wouldn't be too concerned about them right now, but we're not talking about the Wizards. The Magic, I think, are a lock-in for the play-in tournament. I think for sure. I think
yeah.
At the very least, they're at the 10th seed. At the very least. But I don't obviously think they're going to be a top 5 seed. I don't think they're that good. As Ben said, every year there's like the Cavaliers who started off 3-0-2, and like there's just those teams that start off good and then they go on a 12-game losing streak, and it's all she wrote. It's just over. So, I mean, shout out to them for going 4-0 though without Jonathan Isaac, who I thought they'd struggle a lot without him, and they've looked pretty good so far. So shout out to them. So again, kind of like I just said, every season, the same things happen over and over again. Unfortunately, every year there's always a big injury, and just injuries. It's unfortunately something you can't really turn off in real life. And 3 names specific I'm going to ask you guys about is Karl Anthony Towns, Spencer Dinwiddie, and John Morant, who have each suffered Towns will be out indefinitely, no timetable. Morant's out 3 to 5 weeks, and Dinwiddie's out for the year with an ACL. So, Andrew, in your opinion, which injury will hurt their team the most?
I think John Morant's injury, and I don't like. I know I always hated on John Morant, but recently, I don't like John Morant, but only person I don't like more than John Morant is Trae Young, and John Morant and Trae Young have been going at it, or at least the Grayson Allen and John Morant, and I love to see it. And our Grayson Allen and I meant to say Trae Young, and I love to see like Trae Young getting mad because he's not that good. And John Morant, I didn't really like him at first, but he's kind of a savage. It's really unfortunate to see him get injured. And I was literally about to buy a John Morant jersey today, but it was $10 shipping, and I'm like, no way. I'm like, I can wait. I'll wait until the Memphis Grizzlies have a cooler jersey because I didn't want to get any of the. They have like the bright blue one, but I don't know. But yeah, John Morant.
All right, Ben.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think these all hurt their teams. Dinwiddie, the Nets are very deep, so they'll be fine. But that he's out for the entire year, and for a team that has championship aspirations, that definitely hurts. But Morant, this kind of it's 3 to 5 weeks, and the Grizzlies are a team that needs to be at their best for the whole year to have a shot at making this play-in with how deep the West is. So I think it's Morant that has the biggest impact. What was I gonna say? With Karl Anthony Towns, you still have D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. So
and isn't Anthony Edwards a similar position to Cat anyways?
No. Anthony Edwards is a shooting guard.
Okay, I don't even know the NBA.
But but the thing with John Morant is he's like their whole team basically. He's the guy in Memphis, so it's gonna hurt them the most.
Yeah, I mean, you could see tonight Memphis got blown out by Boston. They just weren't a good team. John Morant is their main team. The Grizzlies are missing a lot of players. Jaren Jackson Jr. as well, which is a big piece. Justice Winslow, who's almost hasn't played, I think, in a year. He's been out for quite a while. Those are two big pieces that are missing. Plus John Morant and the Grizzlies. This is where they could these 3 to 5 weeks will literally determine their season. If they can stay 500 somehow, they have a good chance. But it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like their team is ready to do that. It looks like they're going to flunk all the way to the West. And by the time Morant gets back, it's going to be too little, too late. Like Ben said, Dinwiddie, it kind of is a big deal, but at the same time, they got Karis LeVert as their sixth man, who's been playing very well so far. Landry Shamet, who's a spot-up shooter, which some could argue could fit a lot better than Dinwiddie, who's another point guard next to Irving. So yeah, it sucks. Dinwiddie's a good guy, and his story is pretty cool. From like a G League guy who almost got kicked, like no one wanted him in NBA, to a freaking borderline All-Star last year. And Karl-Anthony Towns. They were started off 2-0, but the Timberwolves aren't going to do anything this year. It's a big blow, but they weren't going to do anything anyways. They just got destroyed by, I think, the Clippers and Lakers back to back. They were not even close. So I think I'm with you guys. I think we all agree that John Morant is by far the injury that will hurt the team the most. So one team that's been interesting this year, to say the least, is the Golden State Warriors. I was a person who was high on them because Steph Curry was on their team, and I thought Curry can go to 2015-16 form and just shoot spot out and become the MVP again. The first two games, albeit it was against good teams, it was not pretty. They got absolutely destroyed on opening night, absolutely destroyed on Christmas, and then they bounced back with the game-winning 3 from Damian Lee, and then they beat the Pistons last night to even their record at 2-2. So Ben, what are your thoughts on these Warriors?
They've disappointed me. They don't look very good. There's still lots of time, and they need Draymond Green back. I think that's going to help them a lot. He's like it looks like there's all these young guys, and it looks like it's just a mess with them out there. And Draymond Green's kind of going to be someone along with Curry who can orchestrate the offense, and be a leader defensively as well. But yeah, they barely beat the Bulls. It was close-ish against the Pistons, and then the Bucks and the Nets, they just got destroyed the first 2 games. So I think it's going to be hard for them to make the playoffs. They kind of, I don't know, my expectations are a bit lower after seeing them, seeing Curry not exactly, exploding off the page. Andrew?
Yeah, I think that the Trailblazers are definitely going to make the playoffs over the Warriors now. And I didn't think that. Only thing I'm mentioning that is because I think it'll be like an 8th seed, which is what I thought the Warriors would have probably contended for. But I just don't see the Warriors contending anymore. They, like you said, they definitely look like a mess. Even though, shout out to Damian Lee, I actually saw that with my brother. And Damian Lee is brother-in-law with Steph Curry. So, because he's, I think, married to his sister. So, basically, I guess it's in the family or something. I'm not sure. But, yeah, a lot of the young people in the Warriors. Draymond Green is going to help, especially obviously on the defensive end. But I think he's going to just give them confidence on the floor throughout the game and even on the bench, too, as a voice. James Wiseman. I feel like, will develop to a leader for the young guys, just to have more control on the floor. I mean, he doesn't really play the position to be a leader, but I think it's more about personality in the NBA nowadays. So yeah, Warriors not making the playoffs, but I mean, isn't even their year. Klay Thompson's injured.
I don't want to overreact too early because that's something a lot of people do, and it's like overreact after 4 games and be like, oh, like the Lakers are 2-2, they're gonna miss the playoffs, and it's like, no, we're probably gonna go on a 10-game winning streak and separate themselves from the West. You just gotta relax because it's just a small sample size. But the Warriors just don't look like a good team. Oubre started the season 0-17 from 3 before he made his first one, which is horrible. Andrew Wiggins is one of the most inconsistent players I have ever seen in my life. He has the potential to be so good, but he just doesn't know it, and it's very sad to see.
It's like Asher. He's literally Asher in the NBA.
James Wiseman looks good. And as you guys said, Draymond Green will be a good person to come back and maybe mentor Wiseman a little bit. But Draymond Green will probably add like at least like 1 or 2 wins, 3 maybe. He's not going to change his team. This team's just not good. They're not deep. They're not like that video though. Off topic, kind of Steph Curry making those threes is kind of incredible. The fact that like he wasn't like sore after like the 50 of them, where it's like we kept on going and perfect formation. It was awesome. Like,
well, we actually don't know because it cut off the top. There is definitely some guy sitting on top of the rim dropping them in. we don't know. It was cut.
But anyways, I'm kind of with you. I don't see I can see them maybe getting the 10th seed and playing the play-in. And then all the people will be like, oh, be careful for the Warriors. They can turn the switch on whenever. And then they get destroyed in the first game and get out. But I don't think they're locked for the playoffs anymore. When I think I had them at 14 in my power rankings, and that's looking really bad right now. So
yeah, in case anyone doesn't know, the play-in that we're alluding to is instead of just 1 through 8 and the 8 and 9 having a play-in, it's going to be the 7 through 10 will have a play-in to decide that 7 and 8 spot. So the top 10 teams in each conference are going to at least make a play-in. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and to expand on that, in case you didn't know as well, on what he just said, 7 plays 10 and 8 plays 9. I believe that's how that works. And 7 and 8 just need to win 1 game, and the 9 and 10 need to win 2 games to advance. So it still kind of favors the 7 and 8 seed, but also you could very well see that a 9 and 10 seed. But it's a good thing. What do you guys think about it? Do you guys like that they added that?
I know I didn't even hear about it until right now. I mean, it sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to me. Like anything that it's something new, like it's going to be exciting. It's like the first year they did the All-Star draft. It was like amazing. It was like, oh, who's LeBron going to pick first?
Kevin Durant.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the All-Star game last year. I'm pretty sure we talked about it, where everyone's like, why would you change this amazing game, All-Star game, that no one cares? And it was one of the best All-Star games we've ever seen when we actually happened. Everyone was complaining about how horrible Silver was changing it. Like, why would you do that? It was just one of the best. And everyone's like, oh, let's keep on doing it. And this one, I think it's very fun. I think last year's Blazers versus Grizzlies game was a really good game to watch. East didn't get it because the East was horrible at the bottom of the East. But this year, for sure, there's going to be 2 playing games. I'm pretty sure, unless they do it this – I don't actually know. I'm pretty sure it's going to be no matter what.
Yeah, I don't think there's a game cap.
Yeah, but so I think it's a good addition worst case scenario, they just get rid of it next year. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So the last thing we are going to end on is we talked about overreactions quite a bit this episode. So let's end on one maybe. We're a couple games in, and some people already have their award winners, which you shouldn't already. But do you guys think it is possible to have an MVP candidate this early in the season? Andrew, what you got?
I'm trying to remember in years past. Last year, Giannis won. I think that one people kind of already presumed in the first game, but it's not like he broke out in the first games. When Russell Westbrook won MVP, I'm sure he had like an amazing first couple of games, and it was like he's going to be an MVP. So, I mean, as far as can you determine it, I'm sure it's possible. But this year, no, because the good teams, it's like the West is flipped. All the good teams are on the bottom, and all the not so good teams are on the top. Like the Kings are pretty good up there. I mean, I don't see any of the Kings winning the MVP, so I don't know. I don't think you can tell right now.
Ben?
I don't think you can get much meaningful glimpse into the MVP conversation yet. But I will say, if I had to pick the MVP of the first 3 to 4 games of the season, I would say Trae Young. The Hawks, they went 3-0, and then they lost a close game tonight to Brooklyn. And Trae Young is, aside from James Harden, he's the league's leading scorer. He's shot 42.1% from 3, which is like what I've said he needs to work on is his efficiency. That's the one thing, aside from the fact that he's always going to be someone you have to hide on defense. Like that's where you can improve to take his game to the next level. And so far he's showing that.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree with that. I was going to ask you guys who you guys would pick right now.
I guess, wait, do you want me to say who I'd pick real quick?
Yeah, what would you get so far?
I'm looking at the rankings. Maybe Damian Lillard. I mean, Damian Lillard. He's been. I don't know what his. I haven't really looked at his numbers, but I don't know. Maybe Damian Lillard or Chris Paul, maybe, because they have pretty decent records already, and I mean the Suns have been balling out. Less Chris Paul, more DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker, which I have both of them on my fantasy team. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Brandon
Trae
Ingram.
Young,
Sorry.
I think Trae Young's definitely an MVP candidate if their team gets a top 5. If they're an 8-7 seed, then normally 8-7 seeds never win the MVP. But I think he's playing very good so far. And I mean, me and Ben had our bold predictions being Doncic's MVP, and so far he's not played so hot. And maybe that has to do with him not having another star. And the Mavericks getting blown out by the Hornets tonight, and they're not looking good. And yet somehow they beat the Clippers by 50, which this NBA season is just so confusing. The Heat lost by 50.
Well, the Clippers didn't have Kawhi that night, and they were probably lost.
The Heat lost by 50 last night, and then they won today. And it's
Against
like,
the same
wow.
team in the same place.
Yeah. And no one new came back. Butler was still out for both games, and it's like, what? Like, okay, and it's just a weird season so far. We don't see a lot of 50-point blows. We've seen like 2 in the past 2 days. It's just weird. But I mean, I'd say Trae Young. And can you determine MVP candidate this early? No. Last year it was Luka Doncic. Everyone was hyping him up, and then he wasn't even the top finalist, I believe.
Yeah, he wasn't even up. But he also injured. He got injured. He rolled his ankle.
That's what I'm saying, though. You never know. Hopefully, you never pray someone gets hurt, but you never know. The NBA, a lot of people are getting hurt. It's a short off season. People aren't going to be in the best shape because I don't know. And you've seen a bunch of injuries so far this year, not major ones, but people have left the game a lot this year because of something. So far, no, don't go to Vegas and put money on someone because you've seen what they played in 4 games. Andrew Wiggins can literally score 35 points in 4 games, and like that's all you got to know. And I would not put money on Wiggins to win the MVP award. So, yeah, that's all we got. We'll be back Sunday with probably another recap of the NBA. And for you guys wondering, so I don't have to do this every week, we'll probably just do recaps every single Sunday, unless like a blockbuster trade happens and we have to do like an emergency podcast and discuss what happens or whatever. And we're going to adjust, but for the majority, we're just going to do like a week in review kind of thing and just discuss what we see in the NBA. So thank you guys for your support on all of our channels. We actually passed 600 listens, I believe, last week, which is pretty cool. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you may celebrate. Hope you guys have a happy and safe New Year. Stay quarantined, follow protocols, and all of that stuff. So thank you guys so much for your support, and we'll see you Sunday. Peace.
Bye-bye. I don't have my